Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Crypto Dark Pod, presented by Blockchain Solidarity Media. We're a team of crypto sleuths ready to dive into these thick crypto weeds. We are not afraid to expose the darkness and deceptions that run rampant in crypto. From government and corporate tyranny to the scammy scammers and celebrity influencers, the Crypto Dark Pod team is more than ready to explore all the systematic and psychological tactics, the tricks and misdirection deployed on this new blockchain technology that makes prey of everyday people on the regular. We must be informed and vigilant. Together, we can learn to defend ourselves from these scamming hijackers, which is why we at the Crypto Dark Pod invite you to join us on our exploration into the dark sides of the blockchain. Go get your flashlight.
Welcome back to Crypto Dark Pod, everyone. This episode's a little bit different. We are reacting to a weekend of craziness in the traditional finance system. Lots of questions around what's happening with banks failing, this, that, or the other. How does it affect crypto? All seems very dark, so what better? We're better to talk about all this than Crypto Dark Pod. We're joined by Luke and Pudding again. Guys, how's it going this week?
All good.
Good, Alex. Thanks for having us.
Good stuff, good stuff. Let's just dive in because it's just there's so much to unpack, and it's a developing situation, and everyone's just trying to figure it out and what it all means for traditional finance, for crypto. Does crypto look good out of this? And traditional finance looks horrendous. Let's just maybe start where we can start and try and sum up what's happened before we delve into understanding why it's happened and what it means. Luke, you've been looking at this, stablecoins and its links to the traditional finance sector. We'll get into that in a minute, and then look at what is the wood from the trees in all of this. But let's just start and try and figure out what happened this weekend. We had Silicon Valley Bank go down first. Walk us through it from your perspective. What you've learned from what one thing spiraled into the next this weekend.
Yeah, well, at the moment, it's mostly a case of traditional finances trying to up the interest rate and fight inflation. Unfortunately, as they're doing that, they're finding out that their banks are nowhere near as sound as they should be. And we've had 4 banks this weekend, or the last 4 days, that have actually collapsed. They are not able to pay down their debt. And it's looking really shaky for the entire traditional finance system.
So yeah, and this is 3 or 4 banks, folks, and I read it earlier. This isn't just some tiddly widdly banks in Kansas. This is like, what is it, second and third largest bank failures in U.S. history or something like that. This is serious stuff. I mean, Silicon Valley Bank was the bank of tech startups around the world. So this is no small gravy, and we know that tech plays such a big part in our economy these days, and especially since the pandemic. So this is big stuff, and it's been so big, the Silicon Valley Bank thing that started it all. That 3, as Luke said, 3 banks have been hit in one way or another by it. Luke, delve into the interest rate thing, because there's a lot of people out there maybe confused as to what's causing this. Some people are saying, "Oh, it's another tech bank. Oh, crypto's involved. Crypto must be crypto at fault again." Other people who are a bit more clearer-eyed have sort of, as the dust settles, are saying that actually, no, this is not crypto's fault. This is, and I think New York Times has just put out an article that said, for once, this is not a failure in 2023 of crypto. This is TradFi banking and tech banking that's failed here. Well, this was mismanagement at Silicon Valley Bank and traditional finance at large. It's nothing to do with crypto, right?
No, this has nothing to do with crypto. Anyone who says that is a bit of a hater. And yeah, it's basically traditional finance just hasn't got its shit together for a long time, and they're constantly kicking the can down the road. And we can go all the way back to 2007 and the global financial crisis. After that happened, they didn't bother changing any regulations, and they gave the bank all the money they needed and didn't ask them to shape up in any way. And we're seeing now the effects of that. For the last 20 years almost, we've had near zero interest rates. And this is one reason why crypto is sort of popular at the moment, because people can get a decent yield, much better than the traditional finance, because traditional finance have been offering 0.5% on your money for the longest time. Uh, this has caused a lot of inflation. And at the moment, what they're trying to do is up the interest rate, which is effectively the price of money, to fight inflation. But unfortunately for them, their system is such a shit show that as they've upped the interest rate, they've realized a lot of the banks are not as sound as they should be, and some of them are just straight up failing. And their solution to this is just more bailouts, more money, more band-aids. So yeah, this is not a good time for traditional finance.
And Pudding, what do you think? Like, what do you trace this back to 2008? Because I think, as I've been reading on, like I think part of me never believed that traditional finance had got its shit in gear. Like, no way. But I just read something that said even in the 2008 regulation, mid-sized banks, not the JP Morgans of the world, but these kind of mid-sized banks, the regulation didn't apply to them or something like that. They like so even the big banks had somewhat regulations applied, insufficient, okay. But then mid-sized banks were even left out of a lot of these regulations, and now these are the mid-sized banks that are lo and behold failing. Like, do you just see this as another failed trajectory dating back to 2008 financial crisis that was always coming?
Well, yeah, like I mean, obviously they've been kicking the can forward for years. They just keep doing it. They keep doing it, and for me, I haven't had a lot of faith in traditional finance systems, banks, governments for quite a while. I mean, I kind of got tuned into all this on the Friday morning because I felt like my stable coins were being affected, and I was just like, oh my god, what's going on? Should I change this? And then of course I explore it, and then it's just like, here we are again. It's actually the real world that is the issue. So back to like, is my actual dollar safe? Not like my peg dollar was like vulnerable, but like, is my actual US dollar safe? That's where we're back to. And at the end of the day, whether they are able to kick the can again, give a bunch more loans, push this thing forward, don't look behind the curtain, folks. Like this seems like where we're at.
Well, yeah, it just seems, and let's look, if you can. The next thing we should look at is like, what is the connection here to crypto? How damaged is crypto, if at all? Is this good for crypto? What's the case for stable coins? But just before we move on to that, I do want to say, like, and we made this point last week in our episode, in our episode of Blockchain Solidarity Pod, actually, when we had Luke on, and we were talking about stables ever so briefly, and we kind of saw, like, if stables, if there's ever like stables are too connected to TradFi, and stables depeg, or TradFi screws up, and stables depeg because of it, like, and there's some sort of bank run or whatever, it'll always be like, the elites that sort of get bailed out and everybody else has to pay for it. And that was last week, and lo and behold, all of that has happened this bloody weekend. So we were we were prescient there. I don't know what we were onto there, but let's delve into this, because that's what we're seeing. We're seeing again these these banks are going to be bailed out. The Fed's going to look after them. Some people say socialism for the rich, capitalism for everybody else. What do you think? Like, what is this? They're never going to learn their lesson, TradFi. But how does crypto separate itself from this TradFi system? Tell us a little bit about stable coins. What's the problem with stables? Too connected to TradFi. And what the hell is the way out for stables? What do you think?
Yeah, well, just firstly, the stable's role in crypto, stables have acted as basically the banks of crypto for a long time. It's quite a clever workaround that crypto has come up with. We have an issue with the fiat to crypto and the crypto to fiat transfer. At the end of the day, we still at some point we need to deal with the fiat. We need to transact into fiat or out of fiat, and we need banks to do that. Banks, though, are notoriously uh, useless for crypto. They don't like to touch crypto, and if they do, they generally cut operations 3 months in, and it leaves the crypto or the exchange in a real mess. So we're so stables are a clever workaround where we've almost counterfeited the dollar, and now we're all just using stables, and this means that we don't have to go and do the fiat transfer transaction too much. We've almost like uh, cut it by like we've taken it down to 10%. We had to use banks so much for so many transactions, and with the advent of cryptos, we've almost taken that down to about 10% of the amount of times we need to use banks. So that's a good thing for crypto. Unfortunately, we still need to use them.
So that's important to crystallize that, and then I've got a question off the back of that. To get away from the current financial system, stablecoins have been the sort of gateway into decentralized cryptos like Bitcoin. They've been said to be a way where we can get into the crypto world, and that has its pros, and stop using the TradFi system. But until now, we've still needed the TradFi system to bridge that gap. And we're moving, and it's meant, as you've said, a lot less need for banks, but we still need them somewhat. But the path is to get away from them entirely. So let me ask you this, though, Luke, and it's not a big question we need to spend too much time on, but we've been somewhat reliant on TradFi for stables to even be a thing, haven't we? So it's like the chicken and egg. We've needed the banking system to enable us to make that gateway into crypto and get everyone into crypto from the current system. It's been a double-edged sword in a way. We've used them, but we've also, because of our connection to it, we're gonna get suckered, and so that's what's happened. But I mean, it's inevitable, I guess. We couldn't have got away from it, but that has been a double-edged sword. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the solution is the same thing we've always wanted, which is to never have to use fiat. And we want crypto to be at a point where no one says, "Oh, okay, I've made a bunch of money in this coin or that coin. Now I'm going to cash out
Right.
and go buy a Lambo." We want it to be
Never
at the
cash out
point
into
where
fiat. Cash out into fiat. You could always cash out into another crypto, but we want them to say, "I don't want to. We don't have to cash out into fiat." Yeah. Yeah.
exactly, yeah,
Mm.
we want the crypto system to be at a point, and this is what blockchain solidarity is all about, like building a community, not just a bunch of traders who are looking to make a little bit of money and then cash out into fiat and go buy their Lambos or their houses.
Right.
But crypto needs to be at a point where we never want to cash out into fiat, and then we don't have any of these issues.
No, and we build a whole economy, right? That's it, and that's the difference. Some people see crypto as just another asset to sell to make money in the real world, whereas our dream is to have not need that financial system at all, traditional finance system, and build a whole economy of different cryptos or different systems within blockchain where it's not dependent on the state-run traditional finance system itself. Yeah.
100%.
So how do we get there, Luke? And Pudding, you jump in here as well. Like, how do we get there, Luke? And Pudding, do you think it's realistic that we'll get there soon if these crashes in TradFi continue to happen? Luke, you go first.
Well, how we get there is well, that's a great question, man. I mean, this has been the goal forever, and we've always known that that's what we're building towards. But I don't think we're anywhere near that yet, to be honest. So I'm not sure. We just need more adoption, more
Mm.
people to be in crypto, and not to be in crypto because they think they might be able to make 50% a year in it or something like that. We truly need to build this system. I will say that I believe that most of crypto is people speculating and trying to make
Yeah.
some money.
Yeah.
We need to move on from that. We need to evolve into this community. How you get that community? Well, it takes a lot of time, and we need to appeal to people who aren't just trying to make some money.
Well, and for me, this is back to something that we touched into a few episodes ago, which is at the base level, most people won't accept it. I have tried to have people say rent a room here or purchase something at the bar or restaurant. Most people either don't have it, won't utilize it. And simultaneously, if I'm trying to sort of buy something outside and I'm interested in using crypto, I've tried several times to be like, hey, I have these crypto dollars, or I have this coin or that coin, I could make this purchase with that. Almost nobody is willing to take it. So I have to on road to fiat pay for the thing so this thing that you're talking about is not there yet. We are absolutely 100% like, there's little teeny places where it's working, but for the most part, we are still wholly dependent on traditional systems.
Well. Let me take it back a step, because that seemed to be an answer to sort of, how do we move away from TradFi into crypto? Let's take a step back and maybe the first step. How do we get stables? How do we get to a place where even stables are not reliant on TradFi? We have a system where people can cash out of Tether into USDC, and that's a whole economy, and you can go and buy stuff with USDC if you want. So that people aren't even incentivized to go back into the USD or euros or whatever it is. Can we fix stables first, then crypto follows? Yeah,
it's trust. People have to trust that it's going to that it's real, and I feel like there's still a large lack of trust still. So people it's easier to trust in this system that's always been here. So until that change happens where people are like, wow, actually the traditional finance shouldn't be trusted, maybe I should like lean over. So, maybe some catastrophic thing like the banks collapsing is what slowly leads in this direction, perhaps, but that's a big fat maybe.
I agree. And Luke, what do you think? Well, there will be people out there, Bitcoiners, for example. Like I'm pro Bitcoin. I think we all are, to varying extents. But there will be some Bitcoiners out there and other people in crypto who are like, dude, we may need stable coins now, but ideally we don't need them. So don't focus too much on them being the gateway, or we need to fix them first. It might just be like, we might need them now. Some people might not even say we need them now. But so I want to caveat that as stables aren't the only way to fix crypto. If they're not fixed, crypto won't be. But it just seems like where we are now to maybe foster some more trust and to move away from TradFi even more. That's maybe one of the elements, is to get stables to be less connected to TradFi. And I feel like there's at least enough. There's enough sort of energy in the crypto movement to move stables away. There's enough decentralization energy in crypto to try and get its shit together and get stables at least away from TradFi. Why, and we had decentralized attempts at a stable coin. So I don't know. Like, what do you think, Luke? Is there some way that stables can, first of all, move away from TradFi, or what do you think?
Oh, it's simple. It can be done today. What needs to happen is that we all, as a crypto community, do not care that we cannot cash it back to fiat. So this can all be fixed today. If every stablecoin comes out and says you can no longer cash this into the US dollar, and then we have that fixes all the issues. We are no longer exposed to the TradFi bullshit. The problem with that, as Putty mentioned, is we need trust. People don't want to hear that right now. They don't want to hear Circle come out and say, it's okay, we are fully pegged to the dollar, but you can never reclaim your dollars. You're just going to have crypto and be happy with it. Now, that's the end goal, and hopefully we will be at a point where they can say that and everyone's happy. But at the moment, as Putty mentions, we don't trust crypto enough to just to have that happen. We don't want to hear Circle and Tether say, yeah, you can no longer get dollars out. This is just its own thing, and you'll be happy with it.
Can I ask you a question, Luke? So what would a crypto world look like without stables? Could crypto survive without stables? Are stables essential to crypto, in your opinion?
It, in the current ecosystem, yes, crypto stables rather are a huge deal. They are basically acting as the bank, and without stables, it makes it a lot harder. We have to actually rely on the traditional finance system a lot more. We have to use them a lot more, and uh, so yeah, they're truly very important, and they are a good, clever uh, stepping stone to getting away from traditional finance. But unfortunately, still at some point, people want them redeemed in the US dollar.
So can I follow that up? I'm sorry, Alex.
Go ahead.
Let me just follow that up with one more question. So let's imagine a world where this debacle with circles creates the government kind of coming after stables, and regulation comes in, and now stables are either made illegal or made to be a little bit more to follow the rules of a regular traditional dollar. What does that mean in your mind to crypto?
It just means that, I mean, they definitely have the ability to regulate stables out today. Like, that's what we're realizing. Stables are still very dependent on traditional finance, and without it, they're gone, and then crypto has to deal with that. Uh, so yeah, it's yeah, that's they're how to say yeah, no, I'm losing my point here, but at the moment we need fiat transfer, and we need to get away from that. That's a long way away, though. I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Well, I mean, we could all sort of maybe imagine a world where when TradFi, we're past the need for TradFi, and people are past the need to cash out into TradFi to sustain their way of living. I mean, it's a luxury right now. Maybe it's a privilege for some people who don't feel the need to cash out into crypto or cash out into traditional currency, and can somehow get by with not doing that. But it's not the case for the majority of people. So it seems maybe the only way we can imagine that kind of world is if the US government don't crush crypto in the meantime, people can actually don't need to try to cash out for their everyday living, because we need the masses to get into this, and the only way they do is when they can actually buy stuff and make use of their crypto as sort of assets in some sort of way. And we can maybe imagine a world where crypto stablecoins exist. Maybe Tether is pegged to Circle and Circle's pegged to Tether, and it's stable within the crypto ecosystem and doesn't need to be tied to the fiat system. And maybe there, I don't know. Do we even need those kind of stable currencies within the crypto system itself? I don't know. But let's move on. We can always revisit these kind of questions about stables. What do you guys think just about, the idea of banks being bailed out, and maybe if stable, we were going to do an episode on Tether, and we just saw Circle depeg at the weekend. A lot of everyday people out there who hold stable coins, and that's their level of trust in crypto right now. So what I'm trying to ask is, to what extent should the crypto community, sort of bail out, if you like, or stable coins, because that is the gateway into crypto, and yet stable coins are tied to the TradFi system, and yet we'd have to protect stable coins in the meantime. There just seems to be like a concern there, like that, malpractice at stable coins because of its link to the TradFi system, but yet we'd all be for bailing them out because that's our gateway in, and so many everyday people hold stable coins. There's a real issue there. Like, what do you guys think about that?
Well, this would be a little bit of my pointed question is just like, maybe these regulations are are the Band-Aid being pulled off, and maybe it's exactly what crypto needs, so that they can find either maybe the stable coin links to Bitcoin, or the stable coin like links within itself, so that we can start separating ourselves. I feel like there's this like almost crypto need to stay slightly touched into the traditional finance, and maybe we need some big push of regulation to yank the Band-Aid off, and here we're in it. It's like decentralized or nothing. It's the crypto world or nothing.
Okay.
Or does it all collapse? That was kind of my question. It was like, or does actually that send crypto into a spiral?
Well, I think I don't know, Luke, what you would think about that, but now that I'm sort of seeing it framed in that way, like I think there would be a real problem given how many everyday depositors would lose out because they're in stable coins, and it might be so damaging to crypto, it might set us back if the Band-Aid was pulled off. But can't you just start to build stable coins that are decentralized and properly, not like Luna, and maybe connected to Bitcoin, like you just said, and build that at the same time as not ripping the Band-Aid off, but like the two work in tandem, Because ripping the Band-Aid off might do so much damage, and yet you don't have an alternative.
Yeah, well, ripping the Band-Aid off, I mean, the phrase is there because at the end of the day, it's usually very helpful. Yes, it's going to hurt right now, but it is helpful. I would like to see a Band-Aid being ripped off. I don't want to see crypto using the same stupid solutions that traditional finance uses, which just kicks the can down the road, takes money from Peter and pays off Paul because Paul's bank just shit itself. I don't want to see that. I would rather see us struggle in the short term and fix the issues, because that's something that traditional finance never does. They just paper over it with fiat, literally.
Yeah, I'd be for that if there was some sort of way or guarantee that everyday people who were in stables wouldn't get fucked overnight. But I don't know what the solution to that is, but we could figure that out at a different time.
I think sometimes someone needs to get fucked.
Sometimes some people need to get fucked. Ruthless, Jesus Christ. Well, I don't see why the fucking crypto community wouldn't maybe find it in its interest to band together to have some sort of crypto insured deposit scheme. So whilst we take this Band-Aid off, we're protecting people who are positive and optimistic and have bought into stables to stay with us and reinvest that in something else, but stay in crypto. I just feel like if that Band-Aid was ripped off and the crypto community didn't protect its own, people just might be so fucked off with it that they'd run away from crypto forever. I mean, we see that when Luna collapses, people are just like, fucking them out. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want that, right?
Yeah, I think we already have something. When FTX went down, you remember that CZ, the owner of Binance,
Right.
proposed a sort of fund just to help people. It was nowhere near big enough. I think he put I think there was about 2 billion all up put in, which at the time that FTX went down, what was that, like a $20 billion loss? So it wasn't big enough, but you might be right. Maybe that is a solution
Imagine industry-wide,
that we could look at.
industry-wide, and instead of just one crypto company, that might be a short-term temporary gateway solution. Anyway, let's move on, close up this up with some wood from the trees discussions. You hear a lot of people who are saying this is part of President Biden and Janet Yellen and the deep state, or the whoever you want to say, the TradFi system, or TradFi's part of TradFi's efforts to crush crypto and for the US dollar to live another day in the form of a CBDC. What do you guys think about that before we delve into the arguments on each side? I'm pro. I think it's actually there's something there in that. What do you guys think? Pudding, do you think there's something there?
I think that they would love to have the digital dollar, right?
You said that like some sort of Dr. Evil sort of, they would love to do that.
I
You sounded like Klaus Schwab there.
We'll just think about it. I mean, like what power hungry government idiot like wouldn't want a totally trackable dollar? It sounds
Yeah,
it
yeah,
sounds amazing, right? Like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
you want to have a garage sale? Well, we're still gonna your shoes from 1982 that you made $25 off of. We're still gonna fucking take tax off of you, and we see it moving because it's digital. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like of course.
Totally. So why? So brilliant. So why? Given you've just had said, and we all know that that's such an overwhelmingly strong drive for these fuckers, government and private power, private corporate capital power, are working in tandem, as we've just seen from this financial crisis, that they always work in tandem. Why would every move now, every major move in the financial sector, why would that not be part of the plan? You know what I mean? Nothing happens by coincidence. There's always winners and losers. So for folks watching all this, why would they not conclude that this must be part of the overall plan to crush crypto and work towards the CBDC? Luke, what do you think? Is that conspiracy thinking, or what? I don't know. What do you think?
I think, yeah, I think they're always trying to make the best of every crisis, aren't they? A crisis
Mm,
that they themselves create. So, yeah, I think at the moment it's looking very shaky. And whenever this happens, whenever traditional finance looks like it's breaking down because it's such a shit show, the very people who created the shit show create the solution, which
right.
is generally terrible, and it generally gives them more power, doesn't it? So I don't see anything specific about CBDCs and the specific push for those here, but definitely when shit gets real, they always come up with some genius solution that gives them more power. And what better way than a CBDC?
Yeah, well, that's a good point. It might be not. It's only been what 48 hours since this happened, or I don't know, 72 or whatever. It only happened on Friday. It's only so. I mean,
About
the
that.
dust might settle soon, and we'll see what's going on. But we should say. We should make it clear that a CBDC will mean that the government has more power than private capital, because people say when a CBDC comes into force, banks will be there to make it run and earn little fees off it, but it will principally be the government in a 1984 kind of scenario that will run the banking system, not so much private banks. So if the government has somewhat of an interest in seeing private banks, damaged, so that they, it all works in different ways. The elites will still win one way or the other, but power might be moving to the government more with, with CBDC. So it all could be part of the plan to hurt TradFi and for power to move to these CBDCs in a different way. But how do they take down crypto in the meantime, and how is this potentially part of it? I think we discussed at the start that this was mismanagement. This wasn't anything to do with crypto. It's not crypto's fault. But the government, as Luke said, and the powers that be will always use a crisis to their benefit. So will they blame this on crypto, even though it's not crypto's fault? I cannot see for the life of me Janet Yellen coming out and going, "No, this had nothing to do with crypto. This was the mismanagement of our banking sector. Damn it!" Like it's just. What do you think, Pudding? Like they'll always use this, and we'll see maybe in the coming week how they'll start criticizing
Oh, for
crypto.
sure. For sure. Like, I mean, what better way to like, switch, you got the cups with the nut. It's just like, look over here, look over here, look over here. Don't look over here. It's absolutely, it makes a lot of sense to the narrative of blaming crypto or using crypto to be like focus over here towards the issues that are going on here rather than our deep-seated internal issues in our own financial system. I mean, that seems quite obvious that
What do you
they'll
think, Luke?
Yeah, I think well, I obviously personally don't think it has anything to do with crypto, and I haven't actually heard anyone say that yet. I just think this is too far from crypto, and it's yeah, they might try and misdirect you for a second and point at crypto, but I mean, all these banks one by one keep falling, and the last couple haven't had anything to do with crypto. So they might try it, but it would be a pretty weak case they would have to come up
Well,
with.
I never underestimate the powers that be to propagandize and the strength of their propaganda, as we all have seen over the last 10 years and even 3 or 4 years, is incredible. So it wouldn't surprise me
Hmm.
if they say Silicon Valley Bank was speculating in the crypto market. Speculation in the crypto market, terrible, terrible for our financial system.
Yeah.
Terrible crypto. And then all the people out there who are not bought into decentralized crypto and who think crypto's a fucking, including us, who think the part of crypto that's a speculative nonsense scam, and and the sort of people who do nothing but speculate on it, which is bad, they'll use that part of it and to crush the whole thing, because that, in the minds of the general public, is what they think of crypto. Whenever people think of crypto, they're like, oh, it's crypto bros making money for their Lambos, isn't it? To get Lambos, isn't it? So if we
Yeah.
know they want to crush crypto, they have an interest in it. Let's see how they use this
It's like a sub narrative, it'll be like a sub
yeah.
narrative. Just keep the lack of trust on crypto, so it might be like, oh, this is an issue that we're working out with our own system, but here's this sub narrative to just make you still not quite trust crypto, right? Like not blame completely on crypto, but more like this little sub discussion.
Yeah, throw some
Right.
shade.
Throwing the shade.
Throw some shade with the propaganda orientated at people who aren't in crypto to get the wider mass public to not believe in crypto. But here's the last question I have, and we'll maybe end on this. And everyone listening should realize this: as 3 or 4 banks have collapsed this weekend, and it looks like the banking sector, traditional finance banking sector, is on the verge, quite possibly, who knows, of another 2008 contagion. Every single one of the top cryptos that I've seen is up anywhere between 3% and 15%. So let's, maybe the proof is in the pudding right now. And who knows what their propaganda will do over the next few weeks. But for now, people who are clued in are saying and thinking and acting, oh shit, that is TradFi that's fucked up. Let's get our money into crypto. So who knows how they'll propagandize in the coming weeks? I'm sure they will. But for right now, people people who are in crypto or people who are acutely aware of what's going on here are realizing how fucked the banking system is and are realizing that crypto is the way, because the proof is in the pudding, right? We've all seen Bitcoin up
Yeah, at the
15%.
moment,
Yeah. Mm.
everyone's looking for an alternative because they're seeing what a shit show it is. So they're looking for anything, and crypto has always been a great alternative. Gold and precious metals have also jumped up. It's just
Mm.
a broader let's get the fuck away from this sort of thing, and crypto has always been there for that. So this is good for crypto,
Yeah,
definitely.
Well, yeah,
when I
go
look out
ahead.
at this landscape, I think I got to get myself some more Bitcoin. Like
Yeah. Right.
that's what goes through my mind. And like when I look at when for me
FOMO.
stable coin is Bitcoin in my world.
Yeah, and now that was going to be the next final thing that I was going to say. A lot of people, because there's a reason why Bitcoin's up 15 and everything else is between 3 and 10% up. But a lot of people are saying like, Bitcoin is the one true currency and the one current. It's the currency. Whilst you have everything else like Ethereum that might build out a wider sort of different kind of economy. Like Bitcoin is the hard money at the end of the day. And when we're pro Bitcoin here, and the way you're taking that away, pudding, I'll say what I'm taking away. Luke, you can maybe say what your final thoughts are, and then we'll end. But my final thoughts are: yeah, get into Bitcoin, but also get VC money out of everything else in crypto. That's my 2 takeaways. Should be 2 lessons: get into Bitcoin and get VC out of everything else in crypto, because look at the damage that we see it can do. Luke, final takeaways, then we'll end it there.
Final takeaway is that the solution to all this is to build up the crypto ecosystem to the point where it's not just a way for crypto bros to get Lambos. You know, people need to think about Bitcoin and think about crypto and think, oh, that's how my daughter paid for her hostel when she went traveling. It was much easier than fiat this, fiat that, and yeah, this is where we need to be. We don't. We have to evolve.
And we want everyone to hold Bitcoin. We want everyone in the world to have Bitcoin, and we want everyone in the world to collaborate and build together and every other crypto ecosystem that's going on. This is the wake-up call for centralized big money to get the fuck out of a new system that we all want to build and be a part of and own. So yeah, brilliantly said, Luke. Yeah, unless there's any final thoughts from anyone wants to throw their hat in the ring with another spicy point, happy to end it there. Anybody else got a spicy point left to say?
No spice for
No.
me.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm into the buy Bitcoin, work, power to the people.
Power to the people. Yeah, build together, own together. Okay, that'll do, folks. We'll wrap it up there. Pudding, you're on a little holiday joint, aren't you? So tell the folks where you're off to. You'll not be with us for the next step.
It's true. I'm going car camping with my family. We're heading up into the I guess maybe it's like northeast of Guatemala, going to a place called Laguna Brava. Going to try to get away from it all. So a place
Nice.
where I won't have to think about Bitcoin or TradFi.
All you'll have to think about is catching that next fish. Love it, love it.
Exactly.
Maybe a lesson for everyone as well. Get out into nature a bit more and get away from the fucking chaos of news and Twitter. My God. Okay, Luke and I will be back for the next episode. Maybe probably to follow up on this this ever-evolving crisis. But we'll leave it there, folks. Thanks for listening, and yeah, have a good evening. Cheers, guys.
Adios.
Cheers, Alex.
Adios. Ciao.